Hello, in this video we will be breaking down the New York State Algebra 1 Regents from August 2019. We will be using the TI-84 Plus family as well as the TI-Nspire family. For question 25, we need to evaluate g of -2 for g of x. Go to y equals on your TI-84 Plus, enter in your equation, -4x squared minus 3x plus 2, second mode out of there, quit, press alpha trace, select y1, substitute in -2, press enter, and we get -8. For the Nspire, let's go to Menu, choose number 1 Actions, and let's define g of x. G of x equals -4x squared minus 3x plus 2. Press enter. Now when we go to our var button and we select g of x, we can put in -2 and we see our outcome is -8. Question 27. We need to get the y by itself for the TI-84 Plus by dividing both sides by 2, leaving us with the fraction. Alpha y equals will get our fraction template. -3x minus 2 in the numerator. 2 is in our denominator. When we press graph, we can visualize the equation. Press second graph to view the table. Because the denominator is 2, we can hit plus sign, change the x value step size by 2, and those values we can use to plot on our coordinate plane. For the TI-Nspire, if we can't solve for y, we could always use relations graphing. Delete the equal sign, choose number 6 relation, 2y equals -3x minus 2. When we press enter, we get the exact same graph. For the second part of this problem, we have to find the y value when x is 2. From the table, when x is 2, y is -4. Looking at our graph, when x is 2, we can see the y value is -4. For question 29, I will start with the TI-Nspire CX technology. Delete your equal sign, choose number 6 relations graphing, control divide gives you your fraction template. 3/5 x plus control divide 1/3. To get our inequality symbol, control equals. We want less than, control divide, 4 in the numerator, 5 for your denominator, x minus, control divide, 1/3. When I press enter, I get my graph. I can see that it is a dashed line, so it is not equivalent to. When I go to Menu, and I choose number 5, Trace, and I do a graph trace, I can see that 3 1/3 is that line. So x is greater than 3 1/3. For the TI-84 Plus family, I'd go to y equals, and I would put in my left-hand side into y1. 3/5 x plus 1/3, and into y2, the right-hand side. 4/5 x minus 1/3. And we want to know when is y2, the red function, greater than y1, the blue function. When I graph it, I can see the point of intersection. Second, trace, intersect, number 5. First curve, second curve, guess. 3 1/3 is when the second function is greater than the first. Question 32. Graph h of x, which is a piecewise function. The TI-84 plus CE happens to have a piecewise template. Press Math, up arrow twice, and select piecewise. In our problem, we have 2 pieces, so left arrow once and select 2, then choose OK. Enter in 2x minus 3. Right arrow, and now we put in our condition. Second, Math, over to Conditions. Option 2, x is less than 0. In the second part, x squared minus 4x minus 5. Right arrow over to the conditions box. Our inequality is x is greater than or equal to 0 and x is less than or equal to 5. So we'll start by putting in our 0. Press second Math, over to Conditions. Option 5 has our inequalities, and then less than 5. When we press Graph, we see our piecewise function. Press second Graph to access the table, and then you can see the values to plot on your graph. For the TI-Nspire, press the Templates key and select the piecewise template. 2x minus 3, right arrow, and we just say x, control equals is where we find our inequalities. We want less than 0, and then we put in x squared minus 4x minus 5, right arrow, 0, control equals, less than or equal to x, space, type in the conjunctive and, space, x, control equals, less than or equal to 5. When I press enter, I will see my graph. I can grab and move using control and click. I can press control T to get my table values. Question 33 really lends itself to the TI-Nspire technology. We will delete the equal sign, choose number 6 relation, and then enter in our first inequality. 2x plus y, control equals, that is greater than or equal to 8. When we press enter, we see our inequality plotted. Hit tab to open up our entry line. Y minus 5, control equals, we'll get our inequalities. We want less than 3x. When we press enter, we can now see our system of inequalities. The second part of question 33 asks us to test the coordinate 1, 8. If I press the letter P on a TI-Nspire CX2 and choose number 2, points by coordinates, I can now enter 1, enter 8, and when I press enter, I can see that 1, 8 is plotted on our inequality y minus 5 is less than 3x, and because that is not inclusive, it does not fall in our solution set. Question 35 has data, and it's asking for a linear regression. So on the TI-84 Plus family, you'll enter your data into list 1 and list 2. On the TI-Nspire, you'll enter it into column A and column B. I will point out on the TI-Nspire, I strongly recommend labeling the top of your columns before you proceed. We will quit on the TI-84 Plus second mode, we'll go to Stat, over to Calc, and we are instructed to do a linear regression for this data. We put our X list into list 1, our Y list into list 2. I always recommend that we store our regression equation, alpha trace, select Y1, arrow down and press enter to calculate, and you will see your linear regression. The problem says to round to the nearest hundredth. A little tip, if you go to mode and down to float, change it to fix 2. Now, second mode out of here, up arrow twice, press enter to copy and paste, and when you run your regression again, you'll have all of your values rounded to the nearest hundredth. Whenever you make a change like that, I strongly recommend that you go back and change it back when you're done. Go back down to float, press enter, second mode quit. For the TI-Nspire, I recommend to add a calculator page, press menu, choose number 6, statistics, number 1, stat calculation, linear regression mx plus b, right arrow, engage the drop down. The X list is the distance tab, engage the drop down. The Y list is cost. F1 is where we will save our regression equation. When I press enter, I will get all of my statistical details. For number 37, you're setting up a system of linear equations. There are 12 chickens in total. X plus Y equals 12. And we know the cost of each chicken and the total dollar amount spent. So 375X plus 250Y equals 35. I'll start with the TI-Nspire technology by going to Menu, choosing number 3, Algebra, choosing number 2, Solve Systems of Linear Equations. We will have 2 equations with 2 unknowns. First equation, X plus Y equals 12. The second equation will be 375X plus 250Y equals $35. When we press enter, we see 4, 8 is our solution. For the TI-84 Plus, we'll use reduced row echelon form with a matrix. Second matrix, over to math, find reduced row echelon form. We'll press alpha zoom. Make sure that we have a 2-row, 3-column matrix. Put in our coefficients. 1x, 1y equals 12. $3.75, $2.50, and a total of $35 was spent. When we press enter, x equals 4, y equals 8 is our solution.